Hello everyone, welcome to the first ever LSI Watchalong for F1, not really LSI, it's F1 Watchalong, just to clarify that. We're, excited to kind of take this new leap into a different kind of content. We're just going to see how it goes. This is the first one. Since when are we doing watch-alongs, Tom? It's now, since when we're doing watch-alongs. And as you can see, this is what you've got on your screen. And hopefully that will be all good. Now, unfortunately, we just had a red flag. It says track clear. I don't know if it is actually clear anytime soon or not. But we do have Zingy with us today, who might be able to give us some better information, as I believe he has a bit more on screen and he can give us some details.
Yeah, as happened a few minutes ago, Nico Hulkenberg did crash into Tarzan Corner. It was a bit of a hefty one. He just lost the back end and he went right into the wall. It looks as though the track is green now. You can see a Red Bull. I think that might be Max Verstappen, yep, coming out the pit lane. And we've just restarted. Hamilton's first at the moment. It looks as though that the track is dry in comparison to FP1, which was very wet and gusty if you have watched that. And we've had a few lockups so far. It's been very, very rusty, not from the drivers, but the track's very, very tricky at the moment, so we are expecting to see these types of mistakes.
Yeah, they've just had a session of rain, and now, well, we're 20 minutes into the session, just over 20 minutes into the session for the second one. We won't get another session this evening because it's the end of Friday. We'll be with you tomorrow for Saturday as well, just to clarify that, as I just quickly make some adjustments, and we should be all good, although that seems to be wrong. I do apologise for the slight error on the screen right there, but it's all fixed, and we're good to go. Right, fastest, Hamilton. It's early to say, but Mercedes, I thought they'd be quite quick. Zingy, McLaren, they topped the FP1 timings. Do you think they can do it again?
We've seen over these last few races that it's not necessarily been McLaren winning the races, but they have had one of the quicker cars. We've seen, obviously, in Spa, George Russell winning and then having that disqualification. But the strategy from McLaren was so poor that they never gave their drivers a chance to win, so although they could have the fastest car, you need to be in that right position always, and I think that's what McLaren are struggling with. They're not operating on a level like Mercedes or Red Bull as of recent, and I think that's really shot themselves in the foot. Of course, Lando being 77 points, I think, away in the championship, it really solidifies how well of a driver Max Verstappen is and how much better Red Bull are operating than McLaren, considering, of course, they haven't been at the top for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, in the recent times, in the recent years, they kind of showed a change in structure and a change in kind of, I don't know other word to use, but vibe. And maybe Hungary kind of saw the original kind of corporate McLaren come into it. But I think they can definitely learn from this, as it's been quite a difficult time recently in certain scenarios. Although, that being said, difficult getting podiums is, like, you know, that's a nice problem to have. Lando, he topped FP1 by 2/10 ahead of Verstappen. Oscar Piastri, P7, 9/10 behind. He only did 14 laps, whereas Lando did 17, Verstappen did 13, and P3 was actually Mercedes with Hamilton 6/10 behind. Too early to say, because it's practice 1, and this is practice 2, as we now see, obviously, the times improve a lot more. It was wet in the earlier stages of the session before, so everybody's going to go so much faster in this session now the track is completely dry. And a bit hotter, if I remember correctly. I'm not entirely sure, but Norris still leads the way. It's still the top 3, the same top 3, but it's just Bottas has managed to find himself in P4.
Yeah, Perez makes an improvement up in the P3, Sargent P4. You must remember the track is getting quicker and quicker every time a car passes by, so these lap times aren't going to be representative, but Max Verstappen and Lando Norris, again, 1 and 2, we've seen this so many times before this season. And of course, it's been very close at the top, especially from Mercedes, who've obviously made those improvements the last few races. Williams, have had a big upgrade for this weekend. I'm not sure where exactly. I think it might be something to do with the underfloor or the nose, but they seem to be kind of competitive right now, keeping pace with Perez, and Sargent's not too far off Albon, so it's good to see he's improving as well.
Yeah, good to see. Second race for Sargent around this circuit. It looks like it's going to be his last few races this season, unfortunately. Well, no, it is going to be his last few races this season. The rumours about Carlos Sainz have been going on for so long that I completely forgot that he has actually signed for Williams. But Logan Sargent, unfortunately, I think his F1 journey will probably be ending. So this will probably be the last time he'll drive in an F1 car around this circuit. But I hope he can have a good result. Williams, do they have the kind of car to compete around this circuit? Usually you would say not, but I think was it last year with all the wet conditions and stuff, they were quite high up. I can't quite remember last year's race too well from my side, but yeah, it's an interesting one. Now, I just want to clarify, everyone, thank you very much for having patience with us. It's great to be here. We are definitely going to have some teething problems. But we'll give our best shot, and it's definitely going to be better. I will say, be here tomorrow, hopefully for qualifying, definitely for practice. We won't be there for the race, unfortunately, on Sunday. You have to watch that all on your own. But we will be here for practice, and yeah, this is going to be a good one. Now, I'm just looking to see what's going on. We've got Sainz and Hulkenberg both on used medium tyres. That's what they're in the pit lane with. But that's the lap that they've set that tyre on. Everyone else is out on fresh softs, if I believe correctly. They have obviously done a few laps on them, but they are all fresh from when they left the pit lane.
Perhaps some teams are just trying to do qualifying runs and some are just trying to get some race data in. I think at this moment in time you'd rather get race data in as a track isn't at its fastest, and obviously in qualifying it's going to be much faster. Unless it rains, of course, and then all this running is obsolete, of course, but I think everyone, it's very split. It looks as though the teams are, one driver's doing qualifying, one driver's doing race runs. We see Sonoda going P4 on the soft tyre, so he was definitely doing a push lap. And yeah, I guess teams are just trying to get a lot of data in, which they missed, of course, in FP1, so it's just a game of catch-up, really, and I think whatever team gets the more data, they could have a good opportunity of outperforming themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Alonso up to P4, and then Sonoda's just beating him. I say that, that's what you can see on the screen right now, which the data is currently delayed, and then the live stream is delayed. What Zingy's referring to is a live feed that they have got, which is a little bit ahead. It's not a problem at all, because I'm sure a lot of people are going to be watching it ahead regardless. So that's fine. But Russell, he won. You'll see that on your screens already. Did that happen a while ago, or did that just happen just now?
Yeah, just about 20 seconds ago, Russell hit it on pole. Piastri P2, 600s behind, so Zandvoort, of course, being a very tight track, what would be the word for it, Aaron? You need to help me here.
Difficult.
Not a very long track.
Not a long track, there's a lot of downforce.
Yeah, so it's going to be very close, of course. And we see Mercedes, P1 and 3, really showing up. We remember in Spa. I'm going to keep going back to that because it is the last race we did have. And it was Mercedes and McLaren, the top teams, so it looks so it's going to be the same here. But again, of course, it's only FP2. And you're never going to know these things until FP3 and qualifying, because that's when they turn it up to 11 and really push the limits.
Yeah, FP3 is going to be good tomorrow, and then it will give us an idea. That being said, I don't know what the weather forecast will be. I'm going to double check that in a few moments' time. You can see Liam Lawson if you're watching the live feed at the moment. I just remembered we're not streaming the live feed, but Liam Lawson's in the garage. Will he be getting in a seat? Helmut Marko apparently said that he will be driving one of their cars next season. Of course, the media has taken that as a kind of a decision to say, you know what, he might be driving a Red Bull because it sounds a bit more dramatic, but do you think he's going to be in that Racing Bull, Zingy?
Who, sorry?
Liam Lawson.
I think with the experience that Lawson's got, he should be able to get into that car and pick up the pace quickly, so I wouldn't see a reason as to not sign him on because he is a very good driver. I mean, for goodness sake, he out-qualified Max Verstappen. Understandably, the Red Bull car was really struggling at Singapore, and that's just been a characteristic of that car for the last few seasons. But I do think Liam Lawson is a special talent, and that needs to be recognised, especially when you've got Ricardo, who's obviously a good driver, but I don't. He's not. He's what? How old is he again? 34, I think. He's not going to get any younger, and Liam's only 22, 23. So you need to look at these things, and if you can get a young driver who's looking promising into that RB seat, to then perhaps get promoted to that Red Bull in a few coming years, it could be a good lineup that they could have. But you don't know. These guys, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this really, but they have a weird way of running things, and they seem to really like to keep their drivers even when they're underperforming. So we'll just have to wait and see. But I think Red Bull are very, very stationary when it comes to these things.
Yeah, yeah. It'll be an interesting one. It's always very confusing and very full of tension. Now, I just double checked the weather, so we will see. I believe possibly rain, but probably not rain for FP3. But qualifying might be a different story. It will ramp up, but there's a chance that they'll miss it. It's about 50-50 for qualifying, so that would be good. I don't really know what cars would come up the top with the rain. I mean, I guess it would be the Mercedes drivers because they're usually very good in the wet, and Verstappen. Alonso, maybe? Would you say the Aston can get up there in wet conditions if it is wet?
I think, yeah, Alonso would definitely be up there at the top. We've seen it last year again, where when it was a bit damp and they were on the dry tyres, it just slid through people. He moved up to, P2 before the pit stops happened, and Alonso, although he's quite old now, he's 42, I believe, he's still incredible. So I think, give him a good car, give him some favourable weather conditions like the wet, and I think he could get a good result and maybe sneak a podium. I don't think a race win's on. The top part is just far too competitive, but you never know. You never know these things.
Yeah, you never know. We'll find out. F1 is a very, very crazy place. That being said, you never know. Max Verstappen has won the last few years since 2021 that we've been here. So would it be safe to say he's going to win again? He knows how to win here. Does he have the pace advantage? According to the vote that we posted, was it yesterday or the day before, who's going to be the fastest at the Dutch Grand Prix weekend, a lot of people initially put it as McLaren by a long shot, but then Red Bull, or Verstappen, was kind of 50-50 in the end, and Mercedes had a bit of a vote, but not too much, and Ferrari a bit, but again a little bit less than Mercedes. So it seems like the public are very 50-50 on who's going to be able to get ahead this race. I think, Zingy, as you said earlier, McLaren, they're just not allowing their drivers to win races, so that's where Verstappen and Red Bull are going to be able to make their way up there. Will Perez be able to back him up as well? That could be good. But I don't know, I can't quite remember again around this circuit how the strategy is in the tyres, but with bank corners I assume the tyres are going to be under a lot of load, and I think that's where the McLaren generally likes to come alive like it did in Hungary. It has that characteristic of being able to work with the tyres very well for a long period. I think they should be able to benefit from that very nicely.
I think ever since Imola, we've really seen McLaren shine through. I mean, that last few laps when Lando Norris was catching Verstappen, you can just see that he was able to push the car so much more. Unfortunately for him, he couldn't get the overtake done, but Imola's a hard track to overtake. Maybe give him a lap or two more, he could have won it, but that just shows how good the McLaren are on longer stints. And considering there's a lot of laps here, as you say, a lot of load, the McLaren could prove to be one of the better cars. Mercedes just seem to be an all-round good car as well. Unless you can remember anything, I don't see anything outstanding with the Mercedes. They're just kind of good everywhere, and I think that's been a staple of the team for many years, and so I think it's going to be tricky, but I think McLaren will have the edge over Mercedes this weekend, and I think Verstappen's going to have to work very hard to get that fourth consecutive win here.
Yeah, I think they are, and they seem to be. Well, obviously Belgium was a little bit different because it seemed like they just had that great pace, although Verstappen was kind of hindered because he started further back. But Silverstone, they were there. The conditions were a bit different, so their car kind of came alive as well as it did in Canada. But if you look at Austria, they were just kind of, they're not fast enough to go for the win, but they're kind of just a pain and there just to pick up on the mistakes. So they're not slow enough to not be taking advantage of any problems. And I think they can definitely do that. This race, I initially earlier this week thought that Mercedes would have a much better chance, but now I'm thinking about it and seeing FP1 and then go through, I'm not really entirely sure. Yes, they are currently P1 and 3, but we've still got 23 minutes to go, and I don't think they're going to stay there. I think they're going to end up, you think 3 and 4, maybe? Yeah, 3 and 4, I think.
What, Mercedes?
Yeah, 3 and 4, maybe 4 and 5. 4 and 5 would actually make more sense. So, I reckon that it'll be Norris, Verstappen, Piastri, and then the 2 Mercedes behind. That's my prediction, at least.
It's very early to make predictions, but if you do want me to make some, I would say, I would say, I don't think McLaren win. I think Hamilton probably has a better chance of winning, and I think it's going to be followed by Norris and Piastri. But I think, again, it's going to be very close. You can never, especially this season, we've seen last season it was just dominated by Red Bull. We've not had a season this good since, well, obviously 2021, but that's competitive with like 4 teams.
Yeah.
2012 was probably the last time we had that, and it's although it's hard to predict, it's great to watch. I mean, Norris there, just completing a fast lap, a few times faster than Max on a race run. However, I think they might have been running different fuel loads, so they're just trying to get the data in once again. And obviously, the longer that McLaren runs on any tyre, it's going to be more fruitful for them. So, any safety cars, any red flags could be detrimental to their strategy, as they have been known to mess up quite a few times. But yeah, it's too close to call at the moment, and you can just see now Lando Norris, I think that's Oscar Piastri, sorry, coming through the last corner on a set of soft tyres. I think he'll be doing just a quick lap now.
Yeah, cool. Unfortunately, I won't be able to commentate on that lap because we can't do that. Unfortunately, I wish we could. Maybe in the future, me and Zing will be in the comms box at the top. But yeah, well, as you can see on your screen now from the live stream, Oscar Piastri is going around the final corner, and then will cross the line in a few moments' time, and then we'll find out what his time will be very shortly, and see if he can maybe beat the Mercedes and get to the top and prove that the McLaren is going to be the fastest. That being said, it doesn't look like he's going as fast as he could have done in that first sector, but we'll just get those numbers on your screen in a few moments' time when he goes over the sector line. I think the sector line is it just before turn 7, if I'm correct in saying that. Let's see, there you go, there's the sector line, 26.23.
Yeah, he's on a race run.
Okay, yeah. According to Norris, that is not anywhere near, but somehow, not somehow, I don't know what I'm looking at here. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Anywhere near, but actually, he's on a used set of soft tyres, whereas Norris, he is currently on a used set of medium tyres, so that's something to keep in mind. What is that, 15 laps in the session right now for Piastri, 6-lap-old tyres with this soft tyre compound, whereas Norris is on 10-lap-old medium tyres. So those two drivers of the difference in lap times, that explains it. So Norris is actually doing a pretty good job. Or does that just show that the medium is pretty quick around this circuit?
Yeah, I mean, medium tyres, they're probably going to be the better race tyre, and as we said, McLaren's better on their tyres than like any other team. Aston Martin, let me interrupt, but Aston Martin have what appears to be bin bags. Bin bags covering the right front brake. I don't know what's going on here, although you can't see it. It looks as though there might be some issues with the brakes, so they're trying to fix that. So, I don't know, maybe some teething issues for Aston Martin. They've not had the easiest season. 2023 was definitely their most successful, for Alonso having those podiums, but from then on it's just been a struggle for them, and we can see again the reliability is perhaps not there, and yeah, I don't know what that was. I'll have to search that. Brakes with
They'll be
vent bags on
hiding
them.
the brake ducts in the design because they're very, very technical sections of the car, very difficult to get right, and they want to protect their designs. So that will be what that is. Whether they've had issues or not, well, it would assume so. Maybe, don't know if they would have had damage that they're trying to repair, but it looked like they were trying to do some work on it. Maybe repair. I don't quite know. I don't know how you'd damage the brake ducts unless it damaged itself. Maybe. This stage of the season, would they all be on new parts or newer parts? No, I don't know if anybody's taking grid penalties or not. If they would be all parts, but then you can replace brake pads every race. So brake ducts, I don't quite know. Unfortunately, my knowledge doesn't expand that far. Tom Brainer, what do you think Ferrari can do around here? They said, I think they can. I think they're gonna be like Mercedes in Austria. They're gonna be annoying, and they're gonna be there, but I don't know if they're gonna be fighting up the top. I don't think they'll be able to beat the Mercedes. If I just go and double check the FP1 results and see where the Ferraris were. Actually, Carlos Sainz was P4 ahead of Russell. It wasn't by that much, whereas Charles Leclerc didn't have the best of times of a 1.9. But we don't know their runs, and as always, FP1 is nothing to go by. It is just getting the car kind of put together, a bit of a shakedown, and then ready to go for the rest of the weekend, especially after a summer break. I don't know, Zingy, Ferrari, I reckon that they can get a P4 if something goes wrong for the top teams, but I think P5, 6, 7-ish would be probably their run.
Yeah, they had that one race around Monaco where they were the fastest car. You've seen Charles Leclerc, of course, having that Monaco drought, then winning. It showed how good he can be, and how good Ferrari can be around those really tight and slow circuits. But you don't really have much of them in F1, and this track's there are some slow sections, but you don't really want to dip below 100 k's around here. So I don't think I can see Ferrari being the competitive force that they were all those races ago. So as you said, P4, yeah, would be a good result for them if anything happened for the top teams, which we've seen in Austria did happen between Lando and Max. And I think from then on they've kind of matured from that, and they've learned that, I mean, if they're going to win the championship, they can't be making stupid mistakes like that. Even, especially with Mercedes picking up the pace, like, you never know. Mercedes could just become insane and win a lot of races and get into that championship fight with Hamilton or Russell. So you can't be messing around, making mistakes, crashing with each other. So it's going to be tricky, but I don't think I can see Ferrari getting anything better than a P6 then, probably.
Fair enough. That's it's harsh, but I think it's fair. It is a shame, but I don't know if this circuit would be considered bumpy enough, like a street circuit, to really go to their strengths. Obviously, they won Singapore when the Red Bulls in 2023 had their bumpy issues, and they continue to have that characteristic in that car. Next year, when Hamilton goes there, is that still going to be a factor, or are they going to have it kind of under control and be able to compete? I don't quite know. We'll see. But in the meantime, as time's passed, we've got just over, or just under, sorry, 15 minutes left on the clock, and Russell still tops the times, and Piastri hasn't been able to do anything. What happened there?
Last show just came out of the box, and it looks as though the Williams of Alex Albon, I think he's been just released into the path of him, but they have avoided each other. I think that might be a bit of a fine for the Williams team. Yeah, just seeing it again, Lance Stroll comes out, and thankfully Albon seen him in time and just backed off, otherwise that could have been quite nasty. But yeah, a bit of issues going on there, but thankfully nothing happened.
Unfortunately, I think, not unfortunately, like, you know, you don't want people to have penalties, but I think you can get away with that in practice sessions, if I'm correct in saying, unless that's just impeding and it's not really an unsafe release. But
Well,
unsafe release, I guess you can't. But yeah, Joe and
Ricardo.
Ricardo.
You say that, and then it comes up with
Yeah,
that.
it's investigating on the screen. Oh well. Yeah. So they might be getting a penalty or probably a fine. You can't really give a penalty in a practice session, right? Unless it's really bad, you might get a grid penalty.
Maybe a reprimand.
Yeah, possibly. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll get a notification, I'm sure, about 10 hours after the session's complete. 10 minutes before quali will be told what's going to happen. But yeah, no, that's a shame. But yeah, actually, on impeding in practice, as I was just going to say, and got it mixed up there. Impeding in practice is kind of like it, it's it's not really not frowned upon, but kind of not really cared about in practice sessions. So you could, in theory, just bully somebody the entire session if you wanted to. You probably can't. But yeah, I don't know how that would go. You'd probably get a severe penalty if you did such a thing. But I don't think these guys would be getting any penalties for that. Just only unsafe release right there from those two. I was saying about that because earlier it looked like on the track map that Magnussen had impeded a few people, but I think that might just be a graphic thing on the screen. Anyway, I'm going to stop waffling because I am absolutely making no sense. When new track guide, one is in the making. Zandvoort, hopefully, well, no, not hopefully, it will be released this weekend. So keep an eye out for that one. Dutch Grand Prix obviously is this weekend, so we got to release that circuit, and it is going to be Zingy that is taking us through the lap. So thank you very much to them for doing so. 12 minutes on the clock for the session, and we're currently on the live feed. You can see an Aston Martin. We're going to get a replay of that instant of the pit lane exit. It was close. It was close. But will they actually... After session. Nice. Nice. They're going to investigate it after the session. Okay, never mind.
Yeah, that looks bad.
Yeah, it's not great. It isn't great.
Yeah, it's going to just cut him off there. That's the same with Albon, but I don't... Obviously, as a driver, you're more focused on the light rather than what's behind you because you trust your team. So I think that's why... Well, I believe anyway, I don't know if they do it still, but they should give the team into trouble rather than the driver because, obviously... It's a really small pit lane. There's a lot of guys around you. You just can't see much. So I wouldn't blame Joe for that at all. I think that's just an issue on the team part, and I would be surprised if they got into trouble as well because that was worse than the Albon Stroll incident.
Yeah, it was. That was true. Italy also in the making. It is definitely Italy. Monza is also in the making. Can you do a Miami track guide? Tricky track in my opinion. Zingy. Yes. I hate to say it, but I think you've been called up here. I know you don't want to do it, but don't worry, guys. Off live stream, I'll get them to do it. I'm sure I'll find a way. Anyway, yeah, we'll try and get Miami. I can't guarantee anything, but I'll try and find somebody to do it. Hopefully it'll be Zingy, but if Zingy doesn't do it, then I will find someone else. So, yeah, that will be as soon as it can on the way, Miami, but don't hold on for too long because we do have Zandvoort and Monza as priority at the moment. Also, just a quick note, Zingy. Robert Schwartzman, yes. He drove an FP1. I'm going to double check where he finished in that session. Obviously, you can't really go too much off of that. Finished P16, 2.3 seconds off the top time, did 15 laps in that session. I'm not really bothered about their performance in the session. I'm more bothered about, are they going to be going to Sauber, that will be then Audi, for next year? Do you reckon that could be a possibility?
Again, Robert Schwartzman's one of those drivers who is very talented, and I think given the chance he could perform well in the car. Obviously today we did learn that F2 driver Jack Doohan will be joining Alpine, so there's a few rookies on the grid for next year, and I think if you give Robert Schwartzman a chance, he could do well. We've seen him plenty of times over these last 2 years, him hopping into the Ferrari or the Sauber, and I think, yeah, giving him that chance, he's one of those drivers again who can really do well next season. So Could it happen? Yes. Will it happen? I have a feeling that someone else has already signed a contract, whoever that may be. I'm not sure, but you know what F1 teams are like. They like to do stuff very private nowadays.
Yeah. Would you say maybe Liam Lawson has already changed his mind and gone somewhere else?
I think his
Maybe to
best chance
Sauber?
of getting to F1 would, yeah, that would probably be going to Sauber. So maybe it has, but the security of that Red Bull team and like the RB as well, even though are they kind of, are they sister teams still or not? I don't actually know anymore.
They never make their mind up. I thought they were meant to be separating, and they were saying, was it at the beginning of this year or last year, that they're trying to take a step away and be their own team, but then it kind of seems like they're ever more so linked to Red Bull than they've ever been before. So I don't know. I don't know. It's an interesting one. I don't know if it was true or not, but I did hear, I don't know if it's a rumour of, I've just heard it wrong, but I think Daniel Ricciardo did an interview, or there was some sort of article or something, and he was kind of like, not so held up on getting into the Red Bull seat, but complimenting Yuki Tsunoda. Would that suggest that he knows that Yuki's going to stay at the team and he's going to go somewhere else, whether that be finish his career or maybe go to Sauber? Because to be honest, if he went there and gave them more experience, that would be pretty good.
I mean, outside of F1, there's also other opportunities, isn't there? There's like, you get the IndyCar series, you've got the, I can't remember what it's called, the ISMA or something like that?
IMSA, yeah, IMSA.
Yeah. And you've got all these other endurance series which you could go to. And of course, it's not F1. I'm not saying F1 is like God and it's the best thing in the world. It's one of the best series in the world, of course, but I don't know. I think Yuki's been overlooked. I think he's a good driver. At the start of his career, obviously points in Bahrain, and he had a lot of crashes. And then he's kind of rectified those and just became a really solid driver. But he's one of those junior drivers who just get looked over by Red Bull, and it's really sad to see that they don't give these younger guys an opportunity. Because I believe, in my opinion anyway, you may not have the same opinion, Aaron, but I think Perez, although he can perform well, it's on his day. If it's not on his day, he'll perform really bad in comparison to what he should be doing. And I think in that scenario, then you've got to look at other people to be candidate for that second Red Bull seat. And I think Tsunoda could be one of those drivers, if not Lawson. Maybe even Ricciardo, you can give him a chance. But again, he's kind of like a Perez in a way where he's not getting any younger again. So you want a driver you can lock in for a few years.
Yeah,
I don't see it.
I feel like Ricardo is just, I don't know, it would be almost like a stopgap, and I think he would probably also understand that would be the situation as well. Tsunoda, I can see why they don't want to promote him to that seat because of the kind of crash-prone reputation that he's got. Is that fair to say? I don't quite know, but yeah, we'll see. That is going to be a conversation for FP3 tomorrow. We've only got a few minutes left on the clock, so we're going to go back to the timings right now as everything is starting to finish up. We can see a few cars very close to each other on the circuit, as you will be able to see Ricciardo and Albon are effectively racing around the circuit right now. It also looks like Piastri and Alonso are also very close to one another on the circuit. So everyone's kind of racing for track position to get these final times in. Would this be where they try and do their quali runs, I guess?
At the end of the session, it's going to be way better to do your qualifying runs at the track as rubbered in, unlike what I was saying about half an hour ago. So, yeah, I think they're going to race for track position and they want to just get the best position they possibly can. To see a replay, Perez and a Ferrari of Leclerc locking up into turn one but making the move stick. Perez got really scared there. Yeah. Oh, it was close, yeah, for sure. Obviously, you guys can't see that, but wow. Yeah, that tyre is going to be completely destroyed though. You can just see he's locked up for a good 20-25 metres there. Perez just getting out of the way, does not want to take any unnecessary damage. But yeah, racing, maybe just racing for fun really, just trying to get these last laps in, trying to push the tyre to the limit and see how much they stray and how much they wear over like a few push laps. Because you have scenarios where it'll be raining soon or the race will be finishing, or you know, there's like these scenarios where you have to push, maybe someone's undercut you and you have to push on that worn tyre. And I think that's what these guys are doing. It's either that or qualifying laps. As we see Leclerc on that medium. Will he come in? I'm not too sure. Not using DRS, so I think he might either be coming in or he's on a race run. He stays out for the moment, so yeah, he's definitely on a race run. But yeah, that front right's going to be destroyed. So yeah, it's interesting to see at the end of the session these guys are really pushing. We've seen Albon just a few moments ago getting past another car, so it's not just Leclerc and Perez that are racing. It looks as though they're just trying to maybe see how they fare in turbulent air comparison to clean air, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I would say that's a very valid point, trying to be close to a car behind, but also attempting overtakes into very difficult corners. Around this circuit, you've got so much banking, and they want to try and figure out how late can I brake into these corners, because you get a bit of help in stopping force from the angles of the circuit. So turn one included, you kind of want to try and see if you can send it, and that's what he's done. He's got a bit of under rotation. He's broke a little bit too hard, relying on that banking a little bit too much. But yeah, luckily Perez saw him coming and didn't do anything too aggressive about that. So he's all good. All good to go. So we've got Russell in the pit lane. We've got Carlos in the pit lane and Hulkenberg as well, who of course hasn't really set any laps. Bit of a worry that the Ferrari is right down there, but it is what it is. We've still got more practice to go, of course, tomorrow, as they'll be absolutely fine. Only a couple minutes on the clock left, but you can see everybody is gunning it a lot quicker than it was before, so they are all racing a little bit. You can see a Williams and a Haas very close together, which would be Albon and Magnussen, and Albon's maybe looking for some dirty air to try and understand how the car will perform, maybe. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, we'll see how that goes in a few moments' time. Just everyone getting their final times in. Now, Carlos Sainz did set their quick lap times before, but obviously is in the pit lane and probably won't be going out again to set one more lap. I mean, they might do, but I don't see why they would. Everyone seems to be on used tyres. They're just using everything they can in this session, and that will probably be that. But I don't see anybody going faster at the moment, so I don't think we'll see any changes.
There's Albon down the inside, and yeah, I think our theory is right. They've got some orange Flovis paint on either side of the underfloor, from what I can see there. So they'll definitely be trying to compare Williams these new upgrades that they do have on the floor. So I was correct in saying that. And yeah, so Williams just trying to see where their car lies in comparison to what it did in Belgium and other tracks. So maybe. Do you reckon Williams could scrape a point here if something happens? They have been competitive here in 2023 with Albon qualifying in that 4th position. And if they can get a Q3 entry there, along with Sargent, remember, he was in Q3 in 2023 as well. So do you reckon that he gets some points this weekend?
I think it's possible. I mean, history says that they can. And if you consider George Russell, Carlos Sainz, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen and Lando Norris as the top drivers, then P6 for Alex Albon was kind of almost best of the rest. Not really, because Oscar Piastri was behind him, but he managed to get up there. So that car is definitely working nice and well. They seem to be able to extract the package that they've got right now pretty quickly. So yeah, I think they can do. It's not going to be so straightforward. The Haas is going to be quick in a straight line, as it seems to be, if I'm correct in saying that. Or it just seems to be quick anyway. But yeah, we'll find out how that goes. Of course, Hulkenberg not having that practice, so he's not really going to be too up to standard. But they are Formula 1 drivers. They are meant to be the best in the world, so they should be able to adapt. And now we have got the clock running down, and we will get the final laps of the session for everyone in a few moments' time. And as I said, it doesn't look like anyone's improving, so I think we're just going to see this being the finishing order.
Russell on an out lap. I think he might have missed the cut-off point. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
He must have pit from the softs, went out, and then he's not had enough time because he's not even to sector 3 yet. I don't know what Mercedes were doing there. Maybe just getting one lap in for a laugh. I don't know, unless they've just really messed up the timing. 1 minute 10 is the time you need to get around the track. Maybe 1:15 for a buffer. I think Mercedes sent them out with like 55 seconds to go. I don't think Ayrton Senna could even do that. So,
Oh,
oh,
I'll tell you what. If I had to go to a Grand Prix any time this year, I would have said this one for practice at least, because it looks like everybody's going at it in the final stages. That's awesome. Very close, and not awesome for the teams. But I could just see on the timings right now on the screen, everyone is really close together. We
oh yeah.
almost saw a bit of a crash. There are some more cars who were close together, but everyone's crossed the line according to the stream, according to our data. We've got a couple more cars to cross the line, but no one improved, no one changed. So it is going to be Russell who tops the times for Piastri, then Hamilton, Norris, then Verstappen in P5. So I apologise, Zingy, I got that terribly wrong. And maybe I was right earlier in the week and Mercedes are actually going to be pretty quick.
Let's say, that Mercedes could be up there. It's FP2, remember. Still got the night to go. It might rain during the night. Who knows? It's the Netherlands. I've heard that the weather changes quite a lot there. It's from some friends, and I mean, I did see some clouds in the distance earlier on, but I think they might have just been passing by the track, not through the track. So I think they're lucky. And looking on board with Lando Norris here, no, there's not really many clouds over by the ocean front. So I think they'll, yeah, I think they'll be fine for the Saturday. It's going to stay these weather conditions. The track should stay as good as it is now. Is there not F2s to run? And then you've got the Porsche Super Cup as well on Sunday. And don't they do qualifying on Saturday as well, or is it Friday?
They might do some sort of qualifying on Friday. I'll have to double check that and let you know in FP3 tomorrow, but I'm not entirely sure right now. And I think we're going to probably call that there, as the data will be going off our screen at some point. I'll quickly go to the intermission screen, and then I will quickly also answer Frantic's question. Frantic, if we can, we will. We do unfortunately have to focus on the other things first, but if we can, highlights could be possible. They're easy to edit, they're just a bit time consuming. But yeah, that is the first free practice session commentated on. Thank you very much for watching, it's been a pleasure. And for the next one, we're going to be even better than ever. Thank you very much, Zingy, as well. It's been a pleasure. Now, I want to say, tomorrow, qualifying, do your predictions now. Who's going to be top 3? I'll go first. I'm going to say Piastri, Verstappen, Hamilton. I'm saying Piastri, Verstappen, Hamilton.
I think Hamilton, Verstappen, and Norris probably.
Wow,
Or
so
no,
Verstappen.
Hamilton, Norris, Verstappen. Sorry, that's what I meant to
So
say.
Verstappen, according to us, isn't going to get pole. I don't know. We'll make a prediction on who's going to win in FP3 tomorrow, because I reckon our decisions might change by then. But yeah, make your predictions in the chat or in the comments. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. It's been a pleasure. I will say it again. We will see you tomorrow for FP3 and qualifying. We'll see you in a bit. Bye-bye.